All right, we're talking with Lance Hoppen right now, bass player for Orleans. And don't even lie to me when you say, I don't know Still the One or Dance With Me, because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Lance, it's like ingrained in the genes of every American born since those songs came out. I mean, those are two songs that are what I like to call earworms. That once they get in your head, they're in there for like 3 days, pretty much.
especially Still the One has become a piece of Americana by virtue of its being used. So it's one of the more licensed songs ever for commercials of all kinds, political campaigns, TV, movies. It's everywhere, So if you don't know the band, at least you know the song.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Now, what was the network when that song came out that used it as their actual theme?
Yeah, it was a big hit in the summer of '76, and by the fall of '77, ABC TV.
ABC, that's it. Yeah.
For 2 years, they used it as their mantra.
That must have been great for you guys. You must have been psyched.
It had a double-edged sword. It elevated us in a certain way, but it also enabled John Hall to think about leaving the band. So that's just a little piece of inside baseball. But it's great that we had those hits way back when, which enabled us to work over the years, and especially there's been a resurgence for this kind of music in the last decade or so, and we're riding high on that wave. 54 years in.
Yeah, 54 years. That's amazing. So yeah, there is a resurgence of what people are calling yacht rock. How do you feel about that term?
It's a mixed blessing. I mean, it was started as a joke. It kind of became a thing, and I think we fit in there somehow. We're not mainstream like the Doobies or Hall & Oates or, Christopher Cross. That's really what they think of as yacht rock. But, it's done us well. We tour these days this summer with our contemporaries, Firefall, Prairie League, Atlanta Rhythm Section, everybody kind of fitting in that yacht rock thing in some way. And but more, it's like it became soft rock. It became classic rock. I mean, call it what you will. It's just good music.
Yeah, and one of the things about what they call yacht rock is people don't really get all the time is that the people making that kind of music are amazing musicians. And
you bet. They're back in the 70s. Today you have all kinds of digital advantages, right, with editing and fixing and and we use them currently. But back in the day, there was none of that, and you really had to know how to play and sing because there was no way to get around it.
Yeah, the harmonies that you guys had in your music, there was no fixing the tone or auto tune. There was no Pro Tools. I mean, you were like recording it and then re-recording it on analog tape. It's the I hate to sound like the get off my lawn guy, but the kids don't know the struggle. It
was a different process back then. You had to punch in, punch out. Dare not erase anything by accident. Picture 4 guys around one mic having to sing the right lyrics in tune, in the same phrasing, to get it right. And then if you want to double it, you got to do that again. So that's how we did it. And these days you can do one part at a time. You can tune anything you want. You can actually match people's phrasing one to another. You can do a lot of things. And they're nice, useful tools, shortcuts, but nothing beats the real deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys definitely are the real deal. I mean, I was listening to the album you put out a few months ago, Live in Harvard Square, 75. Amazing set. And I wanted to ask you, because the musicianship is really incredible. You guys have your hits, the gigantic hits, but are there any lesser-known tracks from Orleans that you think deserve more recognition, or your personal favorite? I know that's a tough question. A lot of people say, well, those are like saying what favorite kid is yours. But are there a couple of tracks that casual fans should be paying attention to more?
There's actually a lot of them. I mean, I don't know how many songs we've recorded, but I think it's probably in the nature of 200, maybe.
Oh, man.
17 albums plus some live stuff, and there's gems all along the way. I would point people maybe to the title track, "Awaking and Dreaming." Pretty adventurous and not easy to play. Like a lot of things, not easy to play. "Half Moon," which was I guess started the whole thing on the first album, really difficult to execute. And so and all through the history, things that have been challenging to get to do. And frankly, I don't know that we could do them anymore. The band has, it's evolved over time. We've had roster changes. If not all four of us, then three of us, or if not three of us, two of us, and now just me. Of course, two are deceased, and John Hall retired from the road in 23, leaving me to carry on. And actually, this is our final year, because I've decided the road is getting too much. So we're going to call it next March.
Wow,
will be our final gig as we put our toe in year 55. But I'll be 73. I've been doing this since I was 18.
Yeah,
and I think enough is enough. It's not about the shows. We love the fans. We love all that. The road has become really much harder than it used to be. And we're not the Rolling Stones. We're not flying private jets. We're not driving buses. We're taking commercial flights and, picking up the minivan. And so it's fun, but the shows are fun, but the travel's not fun anymore. And so I'm not retiring. We're just we're putting Orleans on the road to bed, and I'll continue in the other areas of my career.
So you were 18 when you joined the band, and the band formed in Woodstock, New York, early 70s, right? Not long after that little party they had at Yasgur's farm a couple of years before.
Wells and Larry were in a band. John Hall called Wells and said, "Come join me in Woodstock." And he quit, and that broke that band up. And then they got Larry. And so that trio, Larry being my older brother, that trio played its first gig in February of 72 and jailed into Orleans. And I was still in high school. And then I went to see them a couple of times. They were fantastic, as is, but they wanted to expand. And fortunately, I'd been working anyway. I was working 5 nights a week in the Long Island club circuit, and then and had played my first gig at 14. So I had prepared, and I got lifted up into the band that October at the end of my 18th year, and rest is history, I guess.
Wow, you spent almost your entire life in the music business. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and it's been great, and it's been and not so great. There's been times when
of course,
couldn't get arrested and did other things, and then resurgence. So the trajectory of Orleans was climb, crash and burn, figure it out, come back, do it again, crash and burn, do it again. On again, off again, probably 5-6 times, and. When it was fun, we'd do it. And when it wasn't fun, we'd just, usually John, he'd say, "I'm done," and he'd be out. And a couple of years down the road, we'd try it again. And it was, "Oh, this is fun. Let's do it." And but we've been up and running one way or another, even with roster changes, since 2000. So it's been 26 solid years without a break.
Also, what was it like when you joined the band? When you joined the band, were they still based out of the Woodstock area, upstate New York there?
Yeah. John and his then, his writing partner and then wife, Johanna, they wrote a song for Janis Joplin. Johanna interviewed Janis because she was a writer at the Village Voice. And John was there, and then Janis said, "Why don't you guys write a song?" So they did. That's the very first song was "Half Moon," and it became the B-side of "Me and Bobby McGee," the single.
Wow!
And so the income that generated got them move out of Manhattan and into Woodstock, and that house that became the basement where the band rehearsed That's where I had my audition. There's some classic photos from that. They're really cool. And so it was John's house that we worked out of, basically for the, that's where it started. And we were based in Woodstock for the next 20 years or so.
Yeah.
Larry moved to Florida. I eventually moved to Nashville, as did John. But that's where it all happened, in that in Woodstock, Hudson Valley, up and down the New York State Thruway, New England, down to Baltimore, out to Pennsylvania. That was our stomping ground.
It must have been an amazing atmosphere. I'm just guessing in that area when you started with those guys. I mean, I know the guys from the band, they made that their base. It was a huge artistic community up there, a lot of talented people. It must have been an amazing atmosphere to work in and to live in.
It was all that. The band was there. Albert Grossman's famous manager was headquartered there, Bearsville Studios. The band was there. Paul Butterfield Blues Band, David Sanborn, you name it. People hanging out, and a couple of clubs in town where you could hear anybody like that at any given night of the week. So it's they've, because of zoning, they've kind of maintained that entire. It hasn't really changed much. I mean, it's not the music community it used to be, but as far as the environment, it's still pretty much the same.
Nice. Now, the show coming up on Indian Ranch and Sunday, you mentioned you're on tour currently with a great lineup: Pure Prairie League, Firefall, Atlanta Rhythm Section. You must have toured with those guys at some point during the 54 years, or at least crossed paths with them before.
Yeah, on and off. Especially I'd say since 2013. What happened is, Larry passed, and I thought that must be it. 40 years and enough crash and burn. We finished the year by with the alumni, like people coming back and doing a few gigs that we had to do. That was my goal, was to not just disappear, but to finish. And then go out. And he who would become our next manager stepped up said, if you guys want to tour next year, I've got one for you. And that's what became what they called the Sail Rock Tour, not Yacht Rock.
Sail, yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And what that was, we were the house band. We played our own 5-song set within this 2-hour show, but we played for everybody. And it was Christopher Cross, Firefall as a trio, Player as a duo, Robbie Dupree, Gary Wright, Al Stewart, John Ford Coley, everybody on the bill. And they played their 3 to 5 hits, and we backed up everybody. And that's what got us back up and running, so that we could somehow go year after year and get all the way to here 14 years later. So, we've crossed paths and worked with all these guys and many more over the years.
Well, it's going to be an amazing show, and it's happening Sunday at Indian Ranch. And then, I was asking you that question about a lesser-known Orleans track you think people should give a little attention to. If I could pick one, and it would be from the Live at Harvard Square in 1975, that version of Tongue-Tied is so kick-ass. It is unbelievable playing in that song, excuse me. Just amazing. It really showcases the musicianship. You guys have your hits, but really the musicianship is overlooked. I remember talking with one of the guys in Looking Glass, and they had Brandy as that huge hit, but it kind of this hit kind of overshadowed what amazing musicians that they are. And so we get to see it on Sunday for real. So we're very, very excited about that.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't really even realize this, but just recently, in the last couple of months, somebody, in the Midnight Special that we did in 1975, the Dance With Me video, you can find that pretty easily. It comes and goes. But the other song we did was Tongue-Tied.
Oh.
And if you can find it on YouTube, I was like, wow, that's really, really, really good. Really good. So, and that was all, organic and real and live. And I appreciate you acknowledging that, because, we were a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Leave it at that.
Yeah.
I want to mention we have a new album coming out.
Okay.
which is a surprise to many, including ourselves. It's been we've been collecting things since COVID time, and finished the last of them pretty recently. But it's all in the can, and 12 songs, and a lot of stuff nobody's ever heard. A couple of remakes, but that will come out maybe a couple singles this fall and full thing in the first quarter of next year. So we're not done. We're also this quintet, the one that I man. We're going to do an unplugged album in November.
Wow.
We've got 2 nights out in Phoenix. We're going to record Scaled Down, and that will then come out next year sometime too. So that will continue. It's just that the road thing is going to go away.
Yeah. I 54 years. You've put in the miles. I think you're good. You have nothing to prove there.
Not Willie Nelson. We're not going to.
Right. Right. Well, Lance Hoppen from Orleans, thank you so much for taking the time today. See them with Prairie League, Firefall, Atlanta Rhythm Section this Sunday at Indian Ranch in Webster. Lance, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike.